The WWE's latest foray into the Middle East is over, with fans wondering what they just watched. Join us now as Wrestlelamia examines the 2019 Super ShowDown event to see if it lived up to its name and why The Undertaker appears to be disgusted with the show. Let's start off with the good. Number 1. Brock doesn't cash in. Fans around the world are happy to learn that Brock Lesnar was unable to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase at Super ShowDown. As bad as the idea of Brock winning the Money in the Bank ladder match out of nowhere, fans were legitimately concerned that the WWE would put a World Championship around the Beast's waist again after months of him keeping the Universal Championship in seclusion. The WWE did a good job showing Seth Rollins thwart Lesnar's cash-in, albeit with the help of Paul Heyman tripping into the ring and distracting his client, and it wisely kept him from attempting to cash it in against WWE Champion Kofi Kingston. While the idea of Brock Lesnar winning a World Champion again is disturbing, there's nothing wrong with the WWE milking the suspense of when Lesnar will try to cash in his briefcase. Just don't ruin things by having it be a success. Number 2. Finn Balor vs Andrade. While some have scoffed at the WWE promoting this event as bigger than WrestleMania, hyperbole is something that's inherent to professional wrestling. Thankfully, the WWE delivered at times with special moments such as Finn Balor appearing as the Demon. A little bit of hypocrisy since Aleister Black was banned from travelling to Saudi Arabia because of his religious tattoos, but Finn Balor turning up as the Demon is alright. Anyway, Balor rarely uses the character, so it hasn't lost its novelty. Whether it's the visual aspects or the storyline aspect of the Demon only appearing when Balor feels he needs to draw on the character's special power. Like most of the matches on the card, this one wasn't promoted well, but it accomplished two things. Number 1, it elevated Andrade as a worthy opponent for Balor, and number 2, it boosted the Intercontinental Championship, at least tonight, as a belt to showcase the WWE's workhorse wrestlers. Alas, the WWE's track record with both the IC and US belts makes it doubtful whether this will continue, but Balor and Andrade's match was a good example of how the belt can be elevated by an exciting, fast-paced match. But that was the good. What about the bad? Sadly, the show featured a lot more bad than good, whether it was individual matches or the aspects of the show that dragged it down and took away any chance of being bigger than WrestleMania, other than no doubt the small fortune it brought in. Number 1. Wonky times. No, we're not talking about a show that started at 2 PM Eastern Time to reflect the show being held in the Middle East. This show featured some terribly timed matches, with both World Championship matches each lasting less than 12 minutes. Rollins vs Corbin ran roughly 11 minutes, while Kingston vs Ziggler ran a meager 10 minutes. Conversely, Triple H vs Randy Orton went about 25 minutes. Hunter and Orton can certainly work a 25-minute match, but the match could have easily have gone 15 minutes with more time for either Dolph and Kofi or Seth and Baron Corbin. If the WWE thinks that Hunter and Orton was more of a draw, the promotion seriously needs to rethink its World Championship picture. Number 2. Shane wins again. Watching Shane McMahon go over The Miz once was understandable when the two were going to battle in a rematch. Shane O'Mac defeating The Miz a second time was bad booking, considering Shane is a part-time performer. That's unless Papa Vince suddenly sees Shane as the next big thing in the mold of Brock Lesnar. It's even worse to put Shane over Roman Reigns, who, unless things have changed, is still being positioned as the WWE's top babyface. Obviously, the fans in Saudi Arabia love Shane, but is it necessary to put him over the WWE's top wrestlers? The WWE hasn't suggested any type of comeuppance for Shane, so it makes little sense to see him beating the promotion's top stars. Those were the bad points, but what about the mediocre? The WWE Saudi Arabia show also featured some moments that were just meh or mediocre. These moments were neither good or bad, but they did nothing to make the show particularly special. Number 1. Randy Orton vs Triple H. With several superstars refusing to work this event, be sure to check out our video on Super ShowDown news and rumours for more details, the WWE likely figured it could do well by bringing in two main event superstars who the fans would recognise and respect. As we just mentioned, the battle between the Viper and the Game didn't need to go 25 minutes, but the WWE did do the right thing by having full-time competitor Randy Orton go over the all-but-retired Triple H. Number 2. Mansoor wins the Battle Royal. Mansoor first appeared at the Greatest Royal Rumble, signing with the WWE and working in NXT before surprising the fans by winning the Super ShowDown's 50-man Battle Royal. While it was a feel-good moment for the hometown crowd, as the WWE boasted that Mansoor had a contingent of family members on hand, it's uncertain whether this win will translate into any kind of push outside Saudi Arabia. Braun Strowman won the Greatest Royal Rumble, a feat only slightly more prestigious than winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. If Mansoor's career takes off, we'll gladly move his win over to the good section. Number 3. A whole lot of nothing special. One of the biggest problems with Super ShowDown is that it felt like an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, and not even the classic Saturday Night's Main Event, but the second one from the 2000s, with matches that just weren't something you'd get on pay-per-view, but one step short of it. While Dolph vs Kofi was good, the only reason Ziggler wrestled was because Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan refused to work the show. Seth Rollins vs Baron Corbin was surprisingly good, but there seemed to be little doubt that Rollins would retain, as Baron Corbin's push over the last year has been both hot and cold. Add in no tag team title defenses and the Raw Tag Team Champions looking like jobbers during the Battle Royal, or a US title defense, and you have a show that meant next to nothing. Now we've gone through the bad, the mediocre, and the good, but what about the damn right ugly? The fact that the WWE is doing business with the Saudi Arabian government is bad enough, but the following aspects of the show were ugly in a number of ways. Number 1. No women's match. As critics scoffed at the WWE's argument it was promoting events in its repressive regime of Saudi Arabia in order to facilitate change, such as equal rights for women and the LGBTQ community, there was talk that there might be a women's match at Super ShowDown between Alexa Bliss and Natalya. With Bliss and Natalya flying overseas, rumours began circulating that the Saudi Arabian government would allow the women to compete, something which would have been revolutionary. According to Dave Meltzer, the two women flew to Saudi Arabia this week with the crew. At one point, the government had indicated to WWE they could have their first women's match on the show, but then wavered on it. Well, there's always next year. Number 2. Hotshot Booking. Ultimately, Super ShowDown was a show specifically targeted towards the fans in Saudi Arabia, with the WWE looking to send the fans home happy while giving no regard for the roster's booking when they get home. We all know the saying, what happens in Vegas should stay in Vegas, but here the WWE engaged in some ridiculous hotshot booking that the WWE universe won't forget when the WWE returns to the US. And number 3. The Undertaker vs Goldberg. There's no denying that the Undertaker vs Goldberg match was downright ugly. It was nothing short of miraculous that Goldberg was able to work an 8.5-minute match without having an oxygen tank at ringside, but even so, it was pitiful watching these two go at it. If it wasn't for the enthusiastic crowd, you could hear the creaks and crunches as both superstars exercised muscles and joints they haven't used in a long time. Thankfully no one was hurt, although both men's pride may have taken a blow, something which was probably cushioned by both having a nice payday. Nonetheless, this battle of the geriatrics was almost as painful to watch as it must have been for The Undertaker and Goldberg to wrestle. If you watched the show, you probably noticed The Undertaker didn't look particularly pleased after the match. Goldberg has never been known for his technical wizardry in the ring, and it just didn't seem right during the match, and as much as fans wanted to see this one go more than 30 seconds, it was clear that Goldberg's ring rust could have launched a fleet of Hulk Hogan's. What this means for The Undertaker's future is unknown. It's obvious that Taker looks a lot better than he has in recent ring outings, but unless he steps into the ring with someone who can work around his physical limitations, the Phenom is going to find his reputation taking a hit every time he steps into the ring. The Undertaker may have won the match, but the real winner here was Father Time, once again proving that there's a time when every wrestler should hang up their tights. Both wrestlers may be okay to work matches when they are protected from showing their age, such as 6-man tag matches, but a one-on-one main event like this is a bad idea. The fans in Jeddah may have been excited to see two icons do battle, but it's a match that should have happened 15 years ago when they were approaching middle age, not in the thick of it. So whether it's an unknown wrestler winning the 50-man battle royal, The Undertaker and Goldberg tarnishing their legacies, or Shane McMahon getting a big win at the expense of a superstar who's supposed to reflect the future of the WWE, The WWE played to one small segment of their audience in order to collect a fast and easy payday, showing disdain for the rest of its fans. Consequently, the WWE's 2019 Super ShowDown event should have been called Super Letdown. But there you have it, guys. The reason Super ShowDown 2019 disappointed not only the fans, but also The Undertaker. What are your thoughts on the show? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.